Mr. Secretary-General, thank you so much for having Anadolu at the NATO headquarters. You have many times stated that Turkey, being a very important ally, has been contributing to the collective security and regional stability for decades. This year, Turkey celebrates 72nd anniversary of joining NATO. Can I understand from your perspective as NATO Secretary-General, who served approximately 10 years for the alliance, how do you assess the contributions of Turkey for the NATO?
Turkey is an important and highly valued NATO ally. You have been a member of this alliance for 72 years. Just last month we celebrated the anniversary, and Turkey has contributed to our shared security, to our collective defense in so many different ways. Turkey has the second largest army in the alliance, well-trained and well-equipped military forces. You participate in NATO missions and operations, including in Kosovo and in Iraq. And not least the strategic geographic location of Turkey, bordering Iraq and Syria, but also the Black Sea and Russia in the north. Of course, that is important for the whole alliance. Turkey plays an important role in the fight against terrorism, especially in the fight against ISIS. NATO allies and we all used bases in infrastructure in Turkey to help to fight terrorism. So I appreciate all the efforts made by Turkey to support the alliance, to continue to be a key ally.
I guess it would not be wrong to say that we are going through a period that the need to increase defense industry production in Europe is felt most since the war in Ukraine. And Turkey, with its increasing military deterrence capabilities, has become one of the leading allies in this field, I guess. The country has launched 9 homegrown aircraft in a decade, and the latest one is Kaan, the 5th generation fighter jet. I wonder your perspective on fighter jet Kaan and the role of Turkish defense industry in today's NATO and NATO's future plans.
So defense industry is very important, and the war in Ukraine has demonstrated the importance of having a strong defense industry. And I welcome the efforts by the government of Turkey, but also the Turkish defense industry, to invest in new high-end advanced capabilities, including fighter jets. That's important. I also welcome the fact that Turkey for many years have produced the Bayraktar drones, which has proven very effective. They have been important for Ukrainians in defending their own country. And I also welcome the fact that just recently we have had new announcements of also further cooperation between defense industry in Turkey with defense industry in the rest of the alliance. Also the fact that the US will now upgrade and deliver more F-16s. The fact that Canada and Turkey are working also when it comes to the Bayraktar drones and parts to the drones delivered by Canada. And also, for instance, the announcement by the Swedish government and Turkey that they will work more closely together to develop defense industry projects. So this is partly what Turkey does as an individual ally, but not least it is important that Turkey work together with other allies in developing and producing military capabilities.
Mr. Secretary-General, as a follow-up, Turkey frequently raises the issue of lifting the defense trade restrictions between the allies. How do you evaluate the current situation on this issue?
I strongly believe that NATO allies should have no restrictions on defense trade between allies. We are an alliance where we are promised to protect and defend each other and ultimately also die for each other. And of course, then we should also be able to trade defense equipment between each other. We had a very strong statement or decision at the NATO summit in Vilnius, where allies agreed to build down barriers against trade in defense equipment. I also welcome the fact that we now see that allies are trading more with Türkiye, including the F-16s and other examples where Turkey is able to buy key capabilities, key types of equipment from other NATO allies.
I have one more question about the EU's new strategies to develop the defense industry capabilities. There is this strategy by European, which encourages both production and supply to be within the European Union members. Regarding the fact that most of these countries are NATO members as well, how do you evaluate this step taken out of NATO roof in a way, which gives the impression that they exclude defense industry giants such as United States of America, United Kingdom and Turkey?
Well, I think it's important that EU NATO allies are doing more on defense. For instance, increased defense spending, which is a prerequisite for any meaningful increased efforts on defense. And NATO has been calling for European allies to spend more on defense for years, and now they are spending more. That's a good thing. It's also good if the EU can do more to overcome the fragmentation of the European defense industry. And of course, whatever the EU does to try to promote ingenuity, development of new capabilities, that's good. What is not good is to duplicate and compete and overlap NATO efforts. For instance, when it comes to setting capability targets, as deciding what are allies going to invest in, and that's a core NATO responsibility. It's part of our defense planning because any meaningful collective defense has to be based on that we complement each other also on the battlefield, and therefore NATO's defense planning, setting specific capability targets for each and every ally, is something NATO does. And of course, we cannot have two parallel defense planning processes within NATO. Those NATO allies that are both NATO and EU members cannot have two sets of targets, also capability targets. Standards, core NATO capability, has to be something that NATO does. And then to create new barriers between NATO allies will undermine our efforts to strengthen our collective defense, because new barriers will increase prices, it will reduce quality, and it will hamper ingenuity. So therefore, I believe in the transatlantic defense industrial base, including, of course, also non-EU allies, like United Kingdom, Canada, United States, Türkiye or Norway. And I think it's important that we ensure that NATO is the platform for these efforts, because EU NATO allies, they represent 20% of NATO's defense spending. 80% of NATO's defense spending comes from non-EU NATO allies. And of course, therefore we need the whole family, 100%, to work together, not to create barriers between them.
It's too soon to give a farewell message. Now you are preparing NATO for the Washington summit, I know, but looking back to your approximately 10 years behind, what's the most outstanding part, highlight of your tenure? And is there any chance that you to lead NATO one more year?
It has been a privilege to serve as Secretary-General of NATO, the most successful alliance in history, at a pivotal time for our security. With ISIS taking control in Iraq and Syria, a large part of Iraq and Syria, with Russia invading Ukraine, of course, NATO proved its importance more than ever by keeping allies together. And for me, to be Secretary-General in these times has been very meaningful, and I very much appreciate the close cooperation I had with allied leaders, and I very much appreciate the friendship and the cooperation I have developed over many years with President Erdogan. He is a committed NATO ally, and I appreciate the work I've been able to do together with him on many different fields, including the fight against terrorism, strengthening of collective defense, and also support for Ukraine.
Is there any chance that you to lead NATO one more year?
Well, I'm absolutely certain that the allies will find an excellent successor. I am responsible for many decisions at NATO, but not to select my successor. I'm confident the allies will find a good solution.
So what's your message to the candidates?
Well, I'm very careful giving any message to candidates because I'm not part of that process, but I'm confident that the allies will find a good solution.
Those were my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.